Hello there. It's Coastline Kids Online. I'm Michael and we're in the Coastline Kids Great Bible Bake Off. Today is Grain Week in the Bake Off tent, and so the bakers have to make something involving grain. Let's find out how they got on with the judging portion.
Judas, show me your bake.
It's a Weetabix I got from the packet.
Well, then you didn't really bake it or have any input other than putting it on the plate, did you? But at least you're being honest today. Thanks for that. Oh, that's very dry.
Well, that's how I like it.
Peter, did you manage to think of something?
Kind of, I suppose. Last minute, I made you a bowl of Cocoa Pops.
Oh, this is almost as disappointing as Judas's. At least it'll be more moist with the milk. Yeah, it's nice, but you didn't really do anything other than add milk. What's going on today?
Yeah, my bad. It's like my brain froze or something.
John, please tell me you haven't just done me a bowl of Rice Krispies.
No. It's in a bowl, and there are Rice Krispies in it, but it's not just Rice Krispies. It's my no-bake flapjack. I think you're gonna love it.
Oh, that's very nice.
I added marshmallows like you suggested.
Absolutely. They blend perfectly. Good job, John.
After an interesting week, which was all about grain, but somehow seemed to involve a lot of cereal, Dan has selected the winner. The winner is... I mean, we all know it's John, don't we? I mean, it kind of feels like a win, but also kind of just feels like the others were just terrible. I don't really care. I had a lovely sleep, so that's good. Amazing, right? Why not try and make your own no-bake flapjack at home by combining porridge oats, Rice Krispies, mini marshmallows for a little bit of sweet treat, and syrup. It is yummy. Right, I have a big question for you.
Wow.
Do you know the difference between good and bad? Let's do a little quiz to find out if you do. If you think the thing that I read out is a good thing, then you're gonna put your thumb up like that. In fact, do 2 thumbs and shake them about like that, right? If you think it's a bad thing, you're gonna do thumbs down, 2 thumbs down, and shake them about like that. Okay, right, let's start with an easy one. Beating someone up, is it good or bad? Yeah, it's definitely bad, isn't it? Definitely a thumbs down. Right, next one then, being kind. Being kind, yeah. I think you're right, yeah, I think you got your thumbs up. It's definitely a good thing, isn't it, right? What about cheating? Yeah, bad as well, right? Okay, right, let's go for a little bit more difficult one. I'm gonna go for hugs. Are hugs good or bad? Now this one's a little bit more tricky. Mainly good, right? But if it's a hug with someone who's just been gunned, well, that's not gonna be so good. Or maybe one person wants a hug, but the other one doesn't. Again, not very good, is it? Are you ready for another one then? Okay, here we go. It's getting a bit more complicated now. Good versus bad. Eating hot dogs, good or bad? Right, lots of you straight in with their thumbs up. But what if you're a vegetarian? Well, then hot dogs are bad, I guess, aren't they? Otherwise, very good. I like a hot dog. Okay, what about this then? What about only eating hot dogs for the rest of your life? You only eat hot dogs. Yeah, that is probably a bad thing. What about then eating a hot dog once a week? Good or bad? That's probably okay. Yeah, that's probably good, right? What about once a day? Once a day, having a hot dog once a day? No, that's probably too much. That's too many hot dogs, probably bad. Well, how many hot dogs can you eat then before it gets from good to bad? It can be difficult to know with some things whether they're good or whether they're bad. And there's a book in the Old Testament, which is the bit in the Bible before Jesus, that's full of loads and loads of rules that tell you what's good and what bad, what things you should do, what things you shouldn't do. Why do you think then that God makes so many rules for us? Some people, if you ask them, they think it's to punish us so that we can't have any fun. But actually, all of the rules that God gives us are there to protect us and to look after us. Now, who here has rules at home? Which of you has a rule at home that you have to follow? Take a little second to think about what rules you have at home that your parents or your adults have given you. Some of the kids that I asked, right, said things like this. They are not allowed to run in the house. Some kids are not allowed to run in the house. I guess it's in case they break something or they might slip and fall and hurt themselves. That wouldn't be a good thing. Right, what about some other rules? Maybe you're not allowed to jump up and down. We had some people that live in a flat, so they're not allowed to jump up and down. That's one of the rules, so they don't annoy their neighbours. Or maybe someone said they're not allowed to use any screens on a Sunday. They're not allowed screens on a Sunday. That's probably so that they don't spend too much time on their screens and spend time talking to each other as a family. So why do we have all these rules? Well, again, it's because your adults love you so much and they want to keep you safe. All the rules are there for your safety and because they love you. Right, here's another good or bad question for you. Do you think that fire is good or bad? Well, it's both, right? Fire is good. It helps keep us warm. We can use it to cook with. One of the best things about fire is roasting marshmallows over the fire. Oh, very nice. All that runniness inside is much better than a normal marshmallow, isn't it? But fire can also be bad. If we touch it, it burns us, doesn't it? And it can destroy houses and stuff. You might need the fire engine. If your house is on fire and things are on fire around you, it can really hurt and destroy things. Now, I have a personal rule about fire that I've always lived by, and I've always followed this rule for my entire life. You might think, oh, Michael, this is a bit much, right? It's a bit crazy of a rule to have to follow for your whole life. But I think this is a really important rule that I live by regarding fire. Do you want to know what it is? I thought you did. My rule is never, and I repeat this, never ever sit on fire. That's a pretty good rule, right? Because otherwise you'll burn your bum, and no one wants a burnt bum. The main reason, right, that God has rules for us is because he loves us and he wants to keep us safe. That's why we have some rules around fire, like don't sit on it, right? The rules are there because God loves us. He wants to protect us and keep us safe. In the Bible passage that we're looking at today, the Pharisees, who were like the priests and important religious people, they got so bogged down in the rules, so stuck in the rules, that they forgot that the rules are there, after all, to look after people. So they saw Jesus' friends, the disciples, right? And Jesus' friends were roaming around, they were picking the grain, eating it on the Sabbath day, the day off, right? Pharisees, they got mad about this, right? Jesus told them, look, I don't think you really get it. The rules are there to protect people and look after them. That's why my friends are eating, even if it is on the Sabbath day. I mean, this grain thing is a bit confusing, right? It's hard to get our heads around. What is this Sabbath? I don't really know what's going on. Later on, though, right, this might help you to understand. Later on, Jesus healed someone with a withered hand, it says. There's a withered hand. I don't really know what that means, but it sounds like not too pleasant, right? And when did Jesus heal this person with a withered hand? On the Sabbath day, the day of rest, the same day. He made his hand go from withered to completely right and normal and as it should have been. And do you know what the Pharisees said to him? Did they say, oh, well done for healing the hand, that's a brilliant job? No, they told him off for it. Can you believe it? Healing is obviously a good thing. If we go good versus bad, if we'd had that in our quiz earlier and I said healing, you'd have all said, yeah, that's a good thing. But the Pharisees, they got so caught up with the working on the day off rule that they got mad about Jesus healing. Isn't that crazy? Sometimes we can get so caught up with the rules and whether things are right or wrong that we end up forgetting the most important thing. A man once asked Jesus, what's the most important rule? Out of all of the rules, what's the most important one? And Jesus replied with actually two answers. He said the first rule that's most important is to love the Lord your God. You've got to love God, right? With all of your heart. And the second rule is very similar to it. You've got to love your neighbor. You've got to love other people, anyone else around you. You've got to love them. And when you love God and you love other people, everything else will follow. So, how do we put Jesus first? How do we love Jesus and love people before anything else? Well, we can worship Jesus. We can pray to him. We can read our Bibles. We can do chat and catch. And the more time we spend getting to know Jesus, the more we'll know just what he wants us to do. And the rules, well, they'll be easy to follow because we know that he loves us and we'll just be doing the things he tells us to do. Now, that is it for today. Oh, I'm exhausted. We got through a lot. See you next week. Bye-bye.